All right, guys. Well, nope, it's not gonna work. I am Chef Tim, and this week on the island, I am showing you how to make a honey baked ham and cheese Dutch baby.
For this recipe, you will need flour, cornstarch, honey baked ham, shredded cheese, eggs, skim milk, savory herbs, pepper and salt, melted butter and vegetable oil, freshly cut scallions, and finally honey, Dijon, mayo, and a little bit of vinegar.
All right, guys, Dutch babies. Today on the island, we are making a savory ham and cheese Dutch baby. So I'm gonna answer the question I know you guys are all asking, what's a Dutch baby? So a Dutch baby, it's like a giant pancake. More precisely, it's like a giant pancake that's crossed with a popover or a Yorkshire pudding, you know, so it's all golden brown and perfectly baked on the outside, kind of crispy on the edges. The inside's gonna be soft and moist and kind of eggy. It's gonna blow up in the pan as you cook it. It's super impressive looking. It's a lot of fun to cook and it's incredibly delicious. So you can make either sweet babies or savory Dutch babies. We're gonna do a savory Dutch baby. To begin with, you're going to wanna preheat your oven. So preheat your oven to 450 degrees. It's very, very important. It's gotta get very hot and it's gonna take a while to do that. So you wanna do that first. Get that preheated and then wheel over to your ingredients. Begin with your dry ingredients. You're gonna take your flour and your cornstarch and your salt, pepper, and your savory herb blend. You're gonna throw those all into the bowl and you're gonna whisk those up really, really nicely so everything's well combined. Then you move over to your wet ingredients. You got your eggs, you got your skim milk, you have your melted butter returned to room temperature. You're gonna whisk those together in a separate bowl. Whisk those together till they're nice and frothy. Then the fun part, you dump your wet ingredients into your dry ingredients, whisking the whole time. I usually do about half the wet ingredients first, whisking until it's smooth. You don't want any lumps in there. And then I'll pour the rest of my wet ingredients into my dry ingredients. Finish whisking. Again, you want a smooth batter, a lot like a pancake. So let me whip this up for you and then we'll move on to the next step. You've got your batter made, the oven just finished preheating. I like to wait till it's done preheating before I warm my pan up. So you're gonna get your skillet warmed up, and now, very, very important step, you need an oven-proof skillet to do this. So cast irons work the best, any other oven-proof skillet will do, but you have to make sure that it's oven-proof or else this is gonna go very badly. All right, guys, moving on to the next step, you've got your batter prepared, your oven just preheated. I'm warming this pan over medium heat and I am dumping in the vegetable oil. It's time to saute some ham. So, you have your ham broken into two different piles. You've got your 3 ounces of ham and you've got your 2 ounces of ham. You're gonna take your 2 ounces of ham, you're gonna dump them into this hot pan, and then you are gonna saute these until they start to take on a little bit of color. Okay guys, so your ham is looking really good right now. It's taken on a darker color, gotten a little crispy on the edges. I'm gonna take a slotted spoon or something like this, and we're gonna remove this ham from the pan. So now what we just did is we infused the oil with the flavor of ham, so it's really going to intensify the savoriness of this dish. Okay, so we've removed the ham from the pan. The pan is still very hot and the heat is still on. You can probably turn the heat off on the pan at this point. This next step is where it gets very interesting. You're gonna pour your batter right into this hot pan. It's gonna crackle a little bit. Don't be alarmed. This is exactly what you want. That's gonna start cooking that Dutch baby along the bottom and the sides. You're gonna take your ham and your cheese and you're gonna put these all along the middle of the Dutch baby. You kinda wanna keep the edges clear because that'll allow the Dutch baby to puff up and climb those edges and get nice and crispy on the edges. There's our ham. Here is our turkey. Cheese, I mean, America. There we go. Now next step, very, very carefully, and using an oven mitt, along with a heat-proof pan, an oven mitt is key for this because this pan's gonna be hot. You take this pan and you put it in the oven. Set your timer for 20 minutes. You're gonna wanna rotate that pan in the oven at the 10-minute mark. All right guys, so the Dutch baby's in the oven. While it's baking, let's whip up our honey mustard sauce. So it's a honey mustard Dijon sauce. You've got your honey, your Dijon, and some mayo, along with 1 tablespoon of white vinegar to give it a little bit of zip. Throw all those in a bowl. Whisk to combine. And then I like to cover it and let it sit in the fridge for 10, 15, 20 minutes to come together. All right, Ham Fam, moment of truth. We are about to find out how we did. Very, very important, oven mitts. You're gonna want 2 here. Super hot pan. Oh yeah, gorgeous, so beautiful. Look at this. Golden brown, puffed up in the pan nice, super impressive. That cheese is crisp and golden brown. All right, next step, let's top it. Okay guys, the Dutch baby has been removed from the oven. It's time to put it on a cutting board or some other serving plate. So to remove it from the cast iron, you're gonna want 2 spatulas. I have a spatula and my trusty fish flipper. Just get right under there, being very careful of that hot pan, and move it right over to a cutting board or a large plate. Get that hot pan out of the way. Now, a little secret, Dutch babies are at their most beautiful directly out of the oven because they're puffed up, and as soon as you pull them out of the oven, the hot air starts to leave them and they start to deflate. So I like to force everybody in my family to come into the kitchen when I am removing it from the oven. Some of them are more appreciative of others. And now we're gonna top it with our toppings. We've got our fried ham from earlier. Gives it a nice little textural component. Drizzle that, or sprinkle that all over the top of this, followed with your green onions. Give it a bit of freshness. And then finally, I like to drizzle it with a honey Dijon mustard. You can also serve this on the side, but I think it's a nice touch. There's a little bit of acid in there that gives the whole dish a really nice pop. And there you have it, a honey baked ham and cheese Dutch baby. Enjoy. Guys, that is it. That is how you make a honey baked ham and cheese Dutch baby. I had a great time today. I hope you enjoyed yourselves as well. It is time for me to go though. I need to eat some of this. The smell is driving me crazy. See you guys in a couple weeks.